Hi there, it's Peter here from Clearscope Solutions. Hey, in this video, I want to talk about something that's really cool that you can utilize inside any Zoho CRM environment, and that's called custom modules. Custom modules is a great feature. It really can help you turn Zoho CRM into a end-to-end business management system and can be customized to meet any type of business. So it doesn't matter whether you're a cleaning company or you're an electrician or you run a finance company involved in travel and tourism, you can leverage the power of custom modules inside Zoho CRM. So what is a custom module? Custom module basically is a way for you to replicate the other modules that already exist in Zoho CRM, but adapt them to your business. So what I'm going to do in this demonstration, I'm going to pretend that we're a company and we want to create, we've got, say, a list of mobile phones that we give our employees, and what we want is a way to be able to store those. Right now, what we're doing is we're storing them, like probably most people are, in spreadsheets, and that spreadsheet exists on someone's hard drive somewhere where somebody says, hey, where's that list of mobile phones? It's hard to update, it's not centralized, and it doesn't match in with all of the other business data that you're collecting for your business. And so what we're going to do in this demonstration is we're going to use custom modules inside Zoho CRM to create an asset registry for your equipment, not just your mobile phones, could be your cars, could be your tools, could be anything, computers that you own, your company owns, and we're going to create a quick demonstration on how you might use custom modules to help you do that. Okay, so with that, let's jump straight into it. Okay, so here we are in Zoho CRM. We're in the home screen, and you can see across the top, for those that don't know, these are all your modules. So you've got your leads, contacts, and so on. And if you open up one of these, you can see that firstly, if you open up one of these modules, you see we are now in what's called the list view. And you can see here's all the records that exists inside the contacts module. And each entry is what we call a record. And so if you open up one of these records, then here's all that information in that record. And then here's all the fields that the data is attached to. Okay, and so these are called native modules. So when you install Zoho CRM, you install it, you sign up to it and you enter it for the first time, you get all of these modules basically by default, and that's what they're called, native modules. And so a lot of the workflow and the way that they work are pre-built inside Zoho CRM. All right, that's why it's such a good system, because out of the box, not like some other CRMs where you've kind of got to build your specific workflow. Zoho CRM sort of gives you a kickstart, if you like. But these are native modules, all right? And so they're good for storing contact information and company information or opportunity or deal information and so on. But there's some things that standard Zoho CRM doesn't have modules for. And one of those, in this case, is an asset module. All right. And so you can leverage Zoho CRM to do much more than sales operations. You can use it to do business management. So a module is just like a spreadsheet, if you like. Basically, it's a spreadsheet. It's got a name of a spreadsheet, and then it's got columns and headers, and the field names here are basically just like the headers. And in fact, a quick little tip, if you come into, say, the contacts module, and then you come over to here to actions and you go to Zoho sheet view, well, actually what that will do is open that that module, the contacts module, and all the data in it in a spreadsheet. And so I'm showing you this just to sort of explain to you the analogy of a module as compared to a spreadsheet. And basically that's what it is. So you can see the first, if you know anything about spreadsheets, typically your first row is your headers or your columns, okay? And your column headers here. And you'll see that these basically match to the field names. So if I open up this contact, and then you look at all the field names here, you can see that they match up to what's here as well. All right, so that's basically how you do it. And so if you want to create a custom module, I'll just close that now, you can do so. And basically, let's say you already had a spreadsheet, and I'm going to show you one that I've already created now. Okay, so I've just created a quick little spreadsheet. Now, the reality is that most organizations, you might already have something like this, a spreadsheet that you're running for whatever it might be, whether it's an asset module, whether it's a staff database, or whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. You've probably got a spreadsheet for it. What I've done here, I've just created a quick little demonstration asset spreadsheet, if you like. And so you can see in the row number 1, I've got my column headers here, and then underneath that, rows 2, 3, and so on, they're my records. So they're the actual data. Okay, so each record, which is the vertical row across here, is a record of data. So you can see here, that's Peter's phone, the type of asset that it is. It's a mobile phone, its serial number, which staff it belongs to, its purchase cost, its GST amount. Now, note that this is a calculation, okay? So this is 10% of the purchase cost. So it's actually calculating that there. And in fact, let's just say, for example, we had another field in here was total ink. Okay, GST, that would equal that plus that. Okay, so that's the total purchase amount. That's total purchase amount. So you can see these are formula fields, and then we've got a date field here, which is the date of purchase, a quantity field, some notes that you might want to add into it, warranty end date, the actual phone number, the carrier, the vendor, and the cost center. But then underneath that, I've got a different type of asset. I've got Peter's laptop, which is not a mobile phone, it's a personal computer. Again, its serial number, who it belongs to from the staff's perspective, its purchase cost, the amount of GST, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can see here, you might have another one in here called Peter's car, right? And it's a automobile. All right. And the serial number, this might be, you might not use the actual serial number, you might use the registration number. Okay, again, who the staff is, $30,000, and of course, these are calculations. All right, so you can see what this is doing, the data purchase, and so on and so forth. Okay, so for your company, you might have a stack of this information that's already existing, but again, it's living in someone's spreadsheet. Well, what you can do with custom modules is you can create a custom module inside Zoho CRM that basically replicates this and keeps it all in there, and then leverage all of the automation and reporting and analytics that Zoho CRM gives you out of the box. All right, so let's do that now. What we're going to do is basically convert this spreadsheet into a Zoho CRM custom module. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this into a split view, and then we're going to add CRM here. All right, so hopefully you can see both of my 2 tabs here. All right. Hi, Peter here from Clearscope Solutions. Thanks for watching our videos. We really love making them. If you've got any questions whatsoever, comment or reach us, come and ask us directly. If you've got a second, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell just to get notified when we create a new video. But also, if you've got a bit of time, please jump onto our website, clearscope.solutions, and just check us out. We've got a lot of experience in Zoho where we might be able to help you, but also have a look at some of our Zoho CRM extensions, such as Logix One Operator, a field service management tool, Logix One Chat, a chat tool with AI integration so it can automatically respond to your customer inbound chats. Our B2B portal lets your customers, especially wholesale customers, place orders directly into the CRM. Logix One Consolidator is our consolidating tool. What it does is allows you to select, say, multiple sales orders or invoices inside CRM, and then convert or combine all of those into one invoice So for things like monthly billing, that type of thing. Logix One Sync to Zoho Finance is a great tool. What it does is it can sync a quote or a Zoho CRM invoice or a sales order into, say, Zoho Books. So you can create an invoice inside Zoho CRM, click a button, and bang, that invoice now exists inside Zoho Books. Zoho CRM cannot do that. Okay, a lot of people think it can, but it can't. It can do something close, but not really. And then Logix One Easy Quote is our quotation tool. You can create a quote inside Zoho CRM. You press a button, it'll give you a link. You send that to the customer. The customer can view that quote online and can accept it, and then that will come back as an approved quote inside your CRM. So yeah, we've got lots of stuff, plus some of our details about us, our consulting capabilities, some use cases. Have a look at those. But of course, if you've got any questions at all, please reach us out directly. Book a meeting online with us or email us, WhatsApp us if you want to. We'll be ready to. All right, so to create a custom module, what you need to do is head on over to the setup section within Zoho CRM. And that's typically, depending on the layout that you've got, it's typically represented by this little cogwheel here. So just click that and then come down under customization, click modules and fields. Now, quick note, if you're using the free version, you won't see this. If you're using standard, you'll see it, and professional and enterprise definitely, but it limits the amount, depending on the type of subscription you've got, will determine how many custom modules you can create, all right? Okay, so once you can see under customization, you can see you've got your modules here, and then on the right side, we've got all these modules, and you can see how many custom ones that we've got, right? Heaps of custom modules. And so here's where all your modules are. And so to create a custom module is pretty simple. Just click that new module button here, which is right here. So I'll click that. And now we're in the module creator. All right. So next step, what we need to do is name the module. And we do that by clicking here on this untitled and giving it a name. First, we need to give it its plural name. So in this case, it would be assets, as in plural, so an S on the end, and then its singular name, which would be asset. Okay, so whenever, when you look at it in the, we'll just jump back into, no, we'll keep that there. When you look at the module names across the top of the CRM, you'll see their plural name. But when you look at one record inside that module, you'll see it as an asset record. All right. So once you've done that, just click save. Next to that is your settings button, where you can select who you want to have access to this module. And Zoho CRM is really powerful at providing permissions and security and data sharing to different users within inside your organization. Now, if you're running an asset module, you probably don't want all of your CRM users looking at it. You probably just want the finance team and maybe the general manager. So if you leave it as standard, that basically means that everybody is going to be able to view it. So what we'll do is just click module permissions. And you can see here that we've just selected administrator, but here we can select our other permissions to our other roles. Okay, now that's for another video, but let's say your system is your finance people, you can just select them. So anyone that's either administrator or a systems permissions person, they will be able to see this module. Anybody that's not will not be able to see it. All right. So it's a bit like when you create your spreadsheet here, you might store it in the manager's Google Docs drive or Zoho Work Drive, and only the managers can see it. This is basically doing the same type of thing. So only anybody that's an administrator or in the systems role can actually see this. All right. So we'll just click save. All right. And then you can see here we've got our fields. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see this. On the left-hand side here under, we've got new fields, all right? And so these, are our fields that we can create inside the module. And we do so quite easily by simply picking them up and dragging and dropping them. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to get straight into it. We're basically going to copy the spreadsheet that we've got here into this custom module, its layout, its fields, and so forth. All right. And in doing so, we might actually find other things that we need to add here, but we can do that. So we've got the item here, but already we have a field called asset name, and you can see that came from when we created the name for the module assets. And so you can see it's used the singular grammar of that, which is asset. And so it's already really got that. So we probably don't need to redo that. We can leave that and just use that as our asset name. The next one is type. Okay, so we need to select a bunch of different types because you might have different types here. You've got mobile phone, personal computers, automobile. It could be drills. It could be clothing. Could be any type of asset that you might give to your employees. It could be a table. It could be office equipment, a chair, or you might note it as office furniture. Do you see where I'm going with this? So this is your master asset registry here, and you've got all these different types, okay? And so what we need to do is kind of replicate this inside the custom module. And we do that, typically what will happen is that for something like this, it might be something that you want to pick from a list. So to do that, that's what we use. We use this field here called a pick list. And what we're going to do is drag that into here. Okay, and you can see here what it will do is open up a new field here where we can give the pick list a name. And what are we going to call it? We're going to call it type. Or you could call it asset type if you want to. And then you can add your options here. All right, now you can do it one by one. So you just come across here, copy it, come back into here and paste it, and so on and so forth. All right. So, but another way you can do it is to add bulk options. So if you click the add bulk options and then you come here and copy that, put your cursor there and paste that in. We've already got mobile phone in there, so we'll take it out and delete it. And then we put all those lists here. So you might have heaps more. Okay. I mean, there's probably heaps of different asset types. Could be work equipment. You get the idea, right? So all of these are your asset types. And I've just copied these into here, into the add bulk options, and I just click add values. And so there they are there. Okay, it's kept that. That option 2, I don't want that. So I can remove that. All right. And if I want to, I can add another value by simply coming to any of the values that I've already got and click the plus. And so we'll just add in here another asset such as printers or just printer. Okay, so then we click there and then we've added that extra one. Again, you can come back, if you've got more, you can come back in here and upload them. It also has a list of predefined choices. So if you click that, you can see we've got the days of the week, time zones, US and state, continents, and that sort of thing. Not too much there, but typically the best way to do that is to do all this in a spreadsheet, have it all ready as much as you can to go, and then add it using these tools here. It just makes the job so much quicker. You can select how you want to sort them. So let's select the default value of this will be, select the default value. So what this means is that when you create a record, it will automatically populate it with one of these from the pick list. In this case, we're going to select none because we don't want that. We can enable history tracking. Okay, so when something happens in this on this field, we can track that. We can sort it as entered, or we can sort it alphabetically. Put in color options, as you can see here. mark it as public if you're going to publicize this on a this will make this field available to all users. Required means that it's mandatory. So when you create a record, you must select this. Okay, you must select an option here. So we're going to select that. And you can show a tooltip here. So I can say, please enter the asset type. Okay, and then if you want to, you can click preview there. And if you highlight over the information button, you'll see that there. All right, so once we've done, we can basically click done. And so now we've created that asset type module. Now we can go on to our next field, which is serial numbers. Serial numbers, this is where you need to be a little bit careful. So serial numbers typically could either be numeric, they could be alphanumeric, and so on. So the type of field that you select here is really important, because if you selected, say, for example, a number field here, well, the issue with that would be is that only numbers can be entered into that field. So if you're going to enter a serial number that's alphanumeric, it's not going to work. So what I would suggest in when we're selecting doing things like serial numbers, just use the single line field here. So you can select the single line field here, and we're going to give it its name, serial number. Okay, so you see the idea. We've created another field for that. The next is we're going to create another field for the staff name. Well, this might be Peter, Tom, Eric, Sue, Paul, and so on. All right, these might be your staff names here. Well, there's actually a couple of ways that you can do this. You could do this by just creating a pick list like I did before, dragging that across there, calling it staff, and uploading the staff names into there. Or what you could actually also do is do exactly the same thing of what I'm doing here, but create a custom module for your employees. Okay, so now what you're doing is referring to from here to your employees module or your staff module. To do that is really quite simple. What you can do is use a lookup field here. So if I drag and drop over, if I select the lookup field, I'll go over to here. You can see now I've got a lookup field. And what this lookup field is it's a field that when you create a record, it will, and you select this field, it'll look up for values in a specific or an existing module. So you can see here, if I change the name here to staff, that's going to be the label, the name for the field. And I'm going to pull that data from these custom modules. All right. And you can see already we've got a custom module here called L1 employees. I'm going to use that as my lookup module. So whenever somebody selects this field, it's going to look into this module for the entries in there. And then I'm going to enter the related list title. Now, what this means is that this field will now exist inside the Logix 1 employees module as a related list. And I'm going to show you what that means. So basically, this is a way to tie everything together, and I'll show you how that works in a second. So what we need to do here is not give it the name that you would think about giving it here. We need to give it the name of what this looks like in the lookup module. So in Logix 1 employees, we're going to see a link to any entries in this module. All right, so we would call this assets. All right, now that might sound a little bit confusing at the moment, but once I create it and run it, you'll sort of see what I mean, okay? Again, you can select your requirements, we'll make it required, you can do tooltips, all that sort of thing, and then once you've done, click done. Okay, so we've created a lookup field. Okay, I hope you're following here. I know that it can be a little bit detailed, but there is a lot of information and knowledge that needs to be shared here. If it seems a bit frustrating, it does take a little bit of time, but trust me, once you've got this set up and it's running effectively inside your business, it can really help you because one, it centralizes all of the data into one location. Secondly, and very importantly, it backs it up. It stores the data with inside Zoho CRM, which is about as good a place to store data as possible. Much better than say on someone's notebook computer. So it's worthwhile going through the pain in setting it up and spending the time to get this right, because once you have, it'll make your business so much more efficient. Okay, before we go into the next fields, one of the important things to do when you're creating custom module is obviously to keep in mind what it looks like, trying to keep the user experience or the UX as neat as possible so it helps the user create the record and modify and update and so forth easily and make it more efficient. One of the things you might want to consider if your modules are getting quite long is to look at using sections. Sections helps you separate your data into different sections. And in fact, what you can do is you can hide or show different sections based on what we call layout rules. And I'm going to go into that maybe a little bit later. But I can show the asset section first, and then once a certain field is selected here, I'm then going to show this section or this section and so forth. So it gives you a lot of control over the way the module works when someone is creating or editing a record. So what we'll do is to do it really simple, to create a new section, just grab the new sections button, drag it down, you'll see it here, and then give it a name. All right, so here we're going to give it a name such as financials, all right? So as the term says, we're going to enter all of our financial detail that's relative to this asset in here. And so the first financial field that we're going to have to create is purchase cost. Okay, so I'm going to copy that name and then I'm going to create a currency field inside the financial section. So I come over to here to currency, select currency, drag and drop it down there, and then give it the name purchase cost. All right, so you can see the maximum digits allowed, number of decimal places that you allow, the whether you want any rounding, whether you want it as public, which we're not going to do, and we're going to have it as required. Again, we can create a tooltip. You can even encrypt the field if you want. And then once you're done, just click save. All right, so we've done the purchase cost. And then what we're going to do is create a formula field, all right? Because we've got the purchase price, we know what the GST value is, say in this case it's 10%. What we're going to do is create a formula field. Okay, you could create a tax field here with your different tax rates if you wanted to, and multiply the two together, just like you do in a spreadsheet here. This calculation is E2 times 0.1, which gives you that GST amount. You can basically do the same thing inside a custom module, which is super powerful. Okay, so if you've got your depreciation formula, you could put that into here as well. It could be anything that you want to calculate. Any sort of calculation that you can do in a spreadsheet, you can basically do it here inside the custom module. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a formula field in there, and we're going to call that GST amount. Once we've done that, we need to select the type of function, all right? And so we can select those here like numeric functions. So we're going to use the absolute, and this is another whole detail on how to create formulas. You can, as you can see, there's a lot of different options here. And then we're going to select the field that we're going to calculate it off. So it was in the financial section. You can see it's already separated there in the select field under financials. So it makes it really easy to do. And then we're going to click insert. Okay, and then we're going to select an operator. We're going to multiply that by, and we're going to put an absolute value in here of 0.1. You could actually, if you had another number field in here, you could easily, and I'll show you actually that in the next field that I create. Okay, you can click Check syntax, so there's no errors. Complete these as the same typical selection boxes that you do when you're creating any other field, and click done. All right, so we've done that. And you can see that it will say here, this field will be hidden during the creation editing. So when you create this, because this is a formula field, it won't show until you save the actual record itself. Okay, so we've got the GST amount. Now what we need to do is the next field we need is the total including GST. Again, another formula field. So we'll put that down here. We'll copy across the name. We'll come in here and we'll say now it's going to be the, scroll down to financials, the purchase cost, click insert plus. So we select add the GST amount, we click insert so you can see that plus there, and then select the GST amount, click that in there, click insert, and now we've got the asset.purchase cost field plus the assets.gst. And you can see how it sort of works. The front first name here before the decimal place, that's assets, the module name, and then the field name. Click check syntax, no problems, click done. All right, so now we've saved that. It's a good point at this point because you're creating formula fields. Let's save it now and let's test it, okay? And then click save. All right, so the asset module we've actually saved. Okay, now we're still back here in the edit, but let's jump in and let's test it, okay, just to make sure that everything's going the way that we want it to. All right, so if we go back here, and now if you see under your modules, depending on the view that you've got, if you've got the new layout, you'll see your modules on the left-hand side. I'll jump out of the setup. We'll go to home. All right, yeah, so if you've got the new view, you'll have the modules on the left-hand side. If you're still looking at the old view of Zoho CRM, which many people still are, that new module will be under other modules. So here we go, other modules, and then we'll search for it. Assets, and there it is, okay? So we click that, and then we open up the assets module. Now we don't have any records in there, so pretty simple. I'll go into importing later, but actually for now, we'll just click the create assets. And let's just copy across some of this data. So we've got Peter's phone. Okay, the email, leave that. The currency, depending on what type of currency you have, but in this case we're AUD, so we'll select AUD. This is a native field that already exists inside when you create any module. The asset type, it's a mobile phone. The serial number, we'll just copy this, put that in there, and then the staff who it belongs to. Okay, so we don't have these names in here, but you can see here I can look up from the lookup module that we created. When we created this lookup field here, we linked it to the L1 employees module, and then we are going to see all of the records there. If you wanted to, you could create a new record here, and we're going to say Peter, and his currency is AUD. We're going to click save and associate, and so now we've got Peter here. All right, and so now the purchase price is $1,200. You can see we can't see those other fields, all right? And so then we click save, and there we go. Okay, so we click save, and then this is showing here, the brackets is the, because we have multiple currencies in here. So if you're only running a single currency, just ignore that in the brackets. But you can see it's calculated the GST and the total in GST. So it did that automatically. And you can also see that it's linked to Peter, who's our staff member. And if we click Peter, it will open up the L1 employees module and the record for Peter. And here it is here. And you'll notice now that under the related list, we have assets. Okay, so you'll recall when I created the lookup field, I had to name the lookup field for the related list, and I called it assets. So if I'm in Peter, who's the employee, and then I can go and click on his assets and I can see all the assets that Peter owns or Peter is responsible for. Okay, so, and then if I wanted to, I can just jump straight into that asset. All right, so let's get back into it. And now what we're going to do is just add these other fields here. And I'll try and do that as quickly as possible. Another way that you can edit a custom or any module actually, and that's actually something worth noting, you can edit any module. So if I basically go to the setup here and go under customization, you can see I'm creating and editing a custom module, but you can edit any module here. So I can come to the accounts module and I can click the layout, and then you can see I can edit that in here as well, or the same, basically the same sort of process, right? So if you want to add custom fields to a native module, you can easily do that, all right? But that's for another video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back to that record that I just created then, and a quick little tip here in Zoho CRM at the bottom here, you got this little clock with the arrow on it, and it says recent items. If you just click that, it'll take you back to your items. So I'm going to jump back into that Peter's phone record. I'm going to show you another way that you can edit the layout quickly rather than going into the setup. You can do it from here. So to do that, all you need to do is click the edit button here, and that will enable you to edit the record. And then you click this little link up here called edit page layout, and I click that, and then you'll see what will happen. It will open up a new tab, and bang, there's that custom module that we were creating. All right. So why has my spreadsheet gone? All right, there we go. Obviously what that's done is open up another tab. So what I'll do is I'll just do that in here. And you can see the assets will be down here. And then you can open that there. There's also a bunch of other things that I'll talk about that later at the end of this. So we'll just open that up. And then we will jump into here and we'll start adding our other fields. Okay, the next field in our list is the, is the purchase date, okay? So as you might have guessed it, that would be a date field. You have two types of date fields. You've got a date only or a date and time. But what we'll do is we'll just select the date field here and we'll give it the name, purchase date. All right, and then we've got another field in here called quantity, and this is a number. Okay, so this is where you might use a number field, and we might put that under the financials, okay, because you might want to create a formula off that, but we'll just quickly call it number. We won't do any of the settings, but if you wanted to modify how that field specifically works, you can come in here, click the edit properties, and then you can customize that in here. So you might make it required. So we'll just do that, save that. We've also got a notes field, different types of notes fields. You've got a single line or a multi-line, okay? So what we'll do is in this case, we'll choose a multi-line, which basically, as the name suggests, it's a field with more than one line, and we'll call that notes. Whoops, that's a bit funny. Edit properties. Notes, okay, and then you can see here you can select the different types. So plain text small, which will give you up to 2,000 characters, plain text large 32,000, or rich text, which is 50,000. Depending on your version of Zoho, well, you'll be enabled to do this, but you can basically put images in here. You can format the font, bold, make it bold, all that sort of stuff, change the font, that sort of thing. We'll just leave it as plain text small, and then we won't have that as required, and we'll just click done. Oh, sorry, that. So there you go. So we found an error. This field label is a system keyword. So you can't use that because note is a system keyword for system label for CRM as a whole. So you can't use just the word notes as a label. So what we'll call it here is asset notes. Okay, and then we'll save that. So we'll put that in there. And have we got any others? We got a warranty end date. Again, another date field. All right, and then we've got a phone number. Okay, so here, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to simulate layouts and how they might work, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to put a new section in here called, now what we'll do is we'll actually put a new field in here called the phone number, and you can see you've actually got a phone number field. So we'll select that and put that in here, and we'll put in the label of phone number. Okay, so we've got that there. And then we're going to put the carrier in. And so a carrier would typically be like a pick list, because you'll have multiple carriers. So I'll put a pick list in called carrier. And then I'm going to give just a couple of options. Telstra is one of ours. Optus is another one. And then I'll add another Vodafone. All right, so we'll just do that. And let's just say, as an example, most of our phones are purchased through Telstra. We'll just select Telstra as the default value, and we'll click done. And then we can do the same. We can do the same for vendor and so on. So it basically follows the same process. And then we can actually put the cost center. So we'll do that. We'll put that in as a single line under financials. We'll call that. Actually, what we'll do is we won't use a single line. We will use a pick list. All right. You can actually also, maybe this is another way of describing what a multi-select list is for. So what we'll do is we'll use a multi-select list, which, as by the name, it means that you can pick more than one value. A pick list, normal pick list, means you can select one value. A multi-pick list allows you to select two. So we'll just use the cost center, and we got 10,000, 1,001, 1,002, and then we'll just put one more. All right, and then we're going to make that required. We'll click done. All right, so now we've got all of our fields in there. Let's just go back and check it, okay? So if we save that, and then what we'll do is we'll jump back into this tab, and we'll jump back to that first record that we created, Peter's phone. And you'll see now we've got all these other fields in here. And so if I want to, I can just come here and create the notes. All right, I'm going to select the carrier, Telstra. The purchase date was this time, say, last year. The warranty end date, say it's today. The phone number itself. All right. And now you can see the system recognizes that as a phone number. So if you're using VoIP or telephony connected to your CRM, now you can actually call it from here. All right, we can enter the quantity, and then we can multi-select the cost center. This may not be a good example, but it'll give you the idea of what a multi-select field is I can select 10,000 and 10,002, and then I can click save. All right, so you can see I've added those fields here. Now, while we're in this record, let's have a look at some of the other default features that you get when you create a custom module, which is really cool, right? So you can see here, I created a notes field inside the record, but you've also got under the related list, you can also create a note the same way as you can create any of the native modules. So you can come here and click plus, and then you can go, let's say, for example, the user reported the phone wasn't working. Okay, so you can type in here, user reported phone not working. All right, and then what you can do is you can actually mention other Zoho CRM users. Now we've only got one here, but if you select @ it will list all your other Zoho CRM users, and it will notify them with this note here. You can add, you can format it if you want to. And you can also add attachments here. So it might be, like this might be the purchase contract. Okay, So I'll just click save, and then I'll just come here, I'll edit that again, and I'm going to attach a file here. So I can attach it from my spreadsheet. I'm just going to attach that image. All right, and so I've attached that to it. All right, you can do attachments in other ways. Well, wait for that to upload. You've also got an attachment field here, attachment related this for this record. So from here, I can come here and upload an attachment. And I can upload it from my desktop, or I can upload it from Zoho WorkDrive. So if you're running Zoho WorkDrive, you can directly select it from Zoho WorkDrive. So you can see here, let's just say it's that one. I can pick that, and then I can apply it. The permissions across WorkDrive and CRM still apply. And so you can see now that attachment's been saved there. All right. If this had an email address as a field, which it does, and you send an email to it, you'll see all the emails that are related to it, and then open activities and closed activities. Open activities is a way for you to create reminders or calendar items. So we know that the warranty end date is the 11th of March. What we can do is we can put that in activity. So what we can do here is come in here and let's create a meeting, and it's update warranty for Peter's phone, and then we're going to do that on March the 12th at 4 p.m. The host is me, participants, and then I can do a reminder, and we can do it 5 minutes before, and then you can add even more details in here if you like, such as you can put notes. And again, you can see that this one has custom fields in it. This is the native meetings module. You can create custom fields in here as well. All right. And so we've got our reminder 15 minutes before, and then we're going to click save. And so now, if we click open activities, you can see here's our warranty repair reminder here. I could create a call, or I could create a task. Okay, so there you go, custom modules. Great feature inside Zoho CRM. Basically what it can do is enable you to extend how you use Zoho CRM in your business, make it more of your one business platform, leverage the licensing costs that you're already paying for Zoho CRM, stop people from storing data on different locations scattered around your office on different spreadsheets and maybe in filing cabinets. Get it all centralized into Zoho CRM, because what does that do? It makes it easy to access it, to manage it, to update it, to edit it, to be able to grab it quickly, but it also means it's going to get backed up and is not at risk of being lost. You know, I've seen so many people with Excel spreadsheets of their asset list on someone's computer, and their computer's died and they can't get that information back. Okay, so when you're doing this, it's basically being backed up to Zoho by default. There are other things that you can do with custom modules, such as create workflow rules, automation, automatically send emails and reminders. You can import a spreadsheet. So you can see in that demonstration, I created the module, and here it is here. And you can see I've only got one. I can add more asset records by clicking the create button here, as I've done before. Or what I can do is if I click this little drop down box, I can take the spreadsheet, which is here with all of my assets in here that you might already have, and use the import assets tool to import from that spreadsheet. Now, I'm not going to go through here. We're going to do a video specifically on here, but you can actually take that spreadsheet that you've already got. Once you've created the custom module, made sure the fields are correctly, then use this tool to upload all of your existing data into that new custom module, making the process really quick and easy. So let's say you've got, you might have hundreds of assets in a spreadsheet. Well, if you create the custom module properly and you've got them in that sheet, you don't need to enter them in manually. You can just import them in one hit. All right, and this is what we do this for a lot of customers, where basically we're taking a spreadsheet, we're creating a custom module for them, and then what we're doing is refining all the data, and then we take their final spreadsheet and we upload it. We might do the first 10 records just to check it. We check all the data is correct, and then once we're good to go, we just do another import and we upload it. And we've imported thousands of records into custom modules. Okay, so it can make it really quick and easy to do. Most of the time is just in setting up the custom module. All right, so that's it for custom modules. Really hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell to get notification, and please check out our website, Clearscope.Solutions. WhatsApp us, we're here to help. You got any questions about Zoho? Leave them in the comments. Let us know if this is what this interests you. Maybe also leave in the comments if you're looking for any other particular topics you'd like us to carry or to talk about here. All right, so with that, thanks so much for watching.